On the news tonight, gunmen kill 4 vigilantes in Anambra State. Doyin Okupe confirms release from EFCC custody, says he was erroneously arrested. And Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, describes President Buhari's critics as ignorant, says the government has done well in the past 8 years. Well, many thanks for joining us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Gunmen have attacked and killed 4 operatives of the Anambra Vigilante Services and also set 5 buildings ablaze. At around 2 a.m. on Thursday, the gunmen reportedly threw improvised explosive devices into the headquarters of Ihala Local Government Area Council headquarters, destroying properties and killing the security officials. The police spokesperson in Anambra State, Tochukwu Ikenga, confirmed the incident in a statement on Thursday. Ikenga said police operatives were alerted, and when they arrived at the scene, one of the gunmen was killed by police operatives when they were confronted. The former Director General of the Peter Obi Datti Presidential Campaign Council, Doyin Okupe, has been released after he was arrested by the Department of State Services, DSS. The DSS had said the arrest was made at the instance of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Speaking after he was released, Okupe said the EFCC apologized for the error. Okupe had recently stepped down as the Director General of the Labour Party presidential campaign following his conviction over money laundering charges. Okupe, who was sentenced to 2 years imprisonment, was given the option to pay 500,000 naira fine on each of the counts, totaling 13 million naira. The Commissioner for Communication in Edo State, Chris Nehikere, says an intelligence report has indicated that 20 persons were kidnapped at the Iweben train station in Edo State and not 32 as reported. Nehikere announced this on Wednesday in Benin while giving an update of the incident. He explained that 7 of the abducted persons had been rescued, recalling that the victims were waiting for a 4 p.m. train from Igweben station to Warri when the kidnappers abducted them on January the 7th. He added that security agencies are intensifying efforts to rescue the remaining victims of the train station attack in Igweben local government area.
Intelligence sent back to the state government. They also told them of the consequence of where villagers harbor these kidnappers or terrorists or whatever term we want to call them. The consequences include if they are found to be residing or have used any of the property within a community, that property is forfeited to the state government and it is destroyed. From intelligence, we have discovered that the kidnappers actually made away or successfully holding just 13 hostages, not 31 as previously thought. This is from intelligence available to us now. I think they must have taken maybe 20, 6 were rescued or 7 were rescued, and the balance is 13 with them. The operation is still ongoing, and we are confident that very soon the ordeal of these innocent citizens will come to an end. The state government takes the issue of security very, very seriously. You know, the train station infrastructure belongs to the federal government. The federal government told Nigerians the other day that they have put in place very serious security architecture to protect all the train stations. And as a responsible state government, we believed the federal government was on top of this.
In the final list of voters released by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) on Wednesday, the Northwest and Southwest have emerged as a region with the largest share of the 93.4 million eligible voters. In the list made available to political parties on Wednesday, Lagos State is the highest number of registered voters with 7,060,195, followed by Kano State with 5,921,370. Speaking during the presentation of the voter register, the Commission's chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu, said the number of registered youths was 60,399.
The register of voters for the 2023 general election stands at 93,469,008 voters. Of this cumulative figure, 49,054,162 or 52.5% are male, while 44,414,846, representing 47.5%, are female. The distribution by age group shows that 37,060,339 or 39.65% are youth between the ages of 18 and 34.
Though we had a press conference after a General Assembly this week, resolving to ensure that we cooperate with the Commission to ensure that whatever it is that will be anti-democratic in the system, parties will resist it and ensure that this democracy does not fail.
You can see that they have distributed the total number of PVC owners throughout the Federation of Nigeria, and they have dissected it. It has never happened in the history of INEC. And if this will continue, certainly, convincingly, I know that this election will be transparent, will be honest, will be sincere, and this will be good for Nigeria.
So what do these numbers mean for the upcoming polls? Liberal Soshoma, legal expert and political analyst, joins me now. Thank you as always for joining us. Now, let's begin from the data for the geopolitical zones, with the Northwest bagging the highest number of registered voters with 22,255,562. Now, how significant is this number to the outcome of the polls?
Yeah, thank you, and good evening. It is not a departure from what we already know, that the population figures or at captured in our voters register, usually consistently the Northwest the highest, followed by, I think, the Southwest or so. So, because in the Northwest you have Kano, in the Southwest you have Lagos. So Kano and Lagos consistently had always been running pari passu in terms of the numbers of figures. So, and then even when the last population census that we did, also you had Northwest highest and the Southwest followed by Southwest. So what this basically means is that also no one region in Nigeria can actually boast of producing, despite the clear provisions of the Constitution, no one region can actually boast of producing, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So there have to be synergies and collaborations among these regions. So if you have a situation where there's a strong collaboration between the Northwest and the Southwest, all they just, that candidate would be just to draw 25% from, various other states and to be home and dry. So that's basically the significance of this.
Away from geopolitical zones now to individual states. We see that for states, Lagos emerged the state with the highest number of voters, edging out Kano and Kaduna. Now, it's quite interesting because we have, someone from Lagos State actually vying for the presidency in the 2023 elections. That is the former Lagos State Governor, Bola Tinubu. Now, do you think that number would give him any advantage at all during the polls in February 2023?
Excuse me. Lagos State being a cosmopolitan state, you can't really say that almost everybody in Lagos State is going to vote in a particular direction. considering the metropolitan nature of Lagos. Unlike, Kano. Kano also highly cosmopolitan, but, not in terms of the awareness, voters' awareness and the rest, not as diverse as Lagos. So why that can be an advantage if properly worked on, but if not properly harnessed and canvassed, then it can also be a disadvantage to the candidate, from Lagos State. But I must say this also, that over time you find out that consistently you have these numbers of registered voters, but unfortunately on the day of election, you discover that we hardly get up to 50% of actual voters, on the day of election. Lagos State million voters. Consistently in previous election, the highest number they've gotten was, I think, the election of the re-election of Fashola, the governorship election of Fashola in 2011. That was close to about 50%, but all other elections, even that of Ambode, wasn't up to that number. Even in Kano, Kaduna, highest you get, even when people allege rigging, the highest you get usually it's about just around that 50%. In some states, we saw governorship election, total number of actual voters dropping to as low as 30% and 25% in some cases. So the numbers are high. It is good that INEC is coming out with the numbers and the statistics, because definitely you can't do elections without numbers. But also, there's another thing that the political parties need to do now, is to latch on to this number to actually mobilize our campaign and ensure that they create this voters' awareness to ensure that all their people come out to vote. Because some persons also will reside in different places and then go back home to register to show up their numbers also. So, but on the day of election, how well are they able to go to these places to vote is another thing, a different ballgame altogether.
Well, indeed, Liberal Shoma, legal experts and political analysts, thank you very much, as always, for your time and your contribution. Well, Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has labelled those criticizing President Muhammadu Buhari over the state economy as ignorant. He spoke on Thursday at the ongoing 18th edition of the PNB Scorecard Series. The minister, who was reacting to claims that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari has failed in the area of economic development, said that such statements are born out of ignorance, since infrastructure is a key driver of economic development. Mohammed insisted that the government has done well in the past 8 years and as such deserves another opportunity to further deliver dividends of democracy to Nigerians. The federal government has disclosed plans to strengthen bilateral relations between Nigeria and the Republic of Spain in areas of gas, petroleum, agriculture, migration, renewable energy, military and maritime security. The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, disclosed this to journalists after a bilateral discussion with the visiting Minister of Foreign Affairs of Spain, José Manuel Albares, in Abuja on Thursday. He said that the two countries have discussed various matters of mutual interest and agreed upon to strengthen their relationships, prioritizing areas of gas, food, and military security. On his part, the Honorable Minister further said that his visit to Nigeria will strengthen and enhance the close relations existing between the two countries.
We're particularly delighted as we speak about security, not just military security, but also food security. And Spain is a huge investor in Africa in the agricultural sector, and has some big companies here, GB Foods and others, that are doing very, very important and very productive work with Nigeria in the agricultural sector. And of course, for our government, agriculture, food security is a main priority.
We are the second client of Nigeria in the world. We've been one of the largest clients concerning gas and petroleum for a long time, and we want to continue strengthening that energy relationship and to foster it. But our bilateral relations are getting deeper, and more aspects are being covered. Very recently, agreement between the University of Lagos and the Embassy of Spain has allowed to open a professor of Spanish language for next year in the university. And of course, security, which is a common challenge to Nigeria and Spain, and we want to offer our support to Nigeria in this great challenge. We express, and I want to express officially, our solidarity with Nigeria in the fight against terrorism.
The Lagos State chapter of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has announced Bola Tinubu, the presidential flag bearer of the All Progressives Congress, as its preferred presidential candidate in the 2023 election. Also, the Labour Union endorsed the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, for a second term in office. Sanwo-Olu, while thanking the NLC for the endorsement, further urged all Lagos residents to vote in the APC to enjoy more dividends of democracy.
I want to thank all of you for this great endorsement. It is a confirmation that you believe in our leadership, and we do not take it for granted. We do not take you for granted. We know that you have choices in life, but you have come out on your own, with your own volition, with your own leadership to say this is what you want to do. Tell everybody under you that you have made a choice. Your association has made a choice, and as you have made the choice, your entire stakeholder will support your choice and go out and do the right thing, which is to vote for APC and to endorse and to vote also for our principal, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We want to thank you very, very much.
The leadership of the organized labor, on their own free volition, took a decision to put this together because you have done well. They said you are their friend. They said you are their partner. They said with you, they have an ally and a voice in Lagos House. Furthermore, they said since the inception of your administration, workers have been smiling and that you have positively transformed the infrastructural landscape of the state, which has made life easier for the working people.
You increased the hazard allowance of last month officers by 100%. You have approved a new salary regime for members of LRS. You have provided brand new BRT buses for staff in 3 arms of government. You also put your name in gold for being the first governor in Nigeria to pay over and above national minimum wage of 30,000 by 35,000. Under your watch, workers are enjoying brand new cars as gift for their outstanding performance.
We'll take a break here, but still to come. Ukraine to set up green hubs in Nigeria to boost bilateral ties. Details of the story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. Gunmen have attacked and killed 4 operatives of the Anambra Vigilante Services and also set ablaze 5 buildings. At around 2 a.m. on Thursday, the gunmen reportedly threw improvised explosive devices into the headquarters of the Hiala Local Government Area Council headquarters, destroying properties and killing the security officials. We also told you that the former Director General of the Peter Obi Dati Presidential Campaign Council, Doyin Okupe, has been released after he was arrested by the Department of State Services, DSS. The DSS had said the arrest was made at the instance of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Speaking after he was released, Okupe said the EFCC apologized for the error. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletin, for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. And now to COVID-19 updates. The World Health Organization has clarified that although virus sequencing is vital to detect and track new variants in the COVID-19 pandemic, sharing this information must be stepped up globally. The WHO chief, Tedros Ghebreyesus, speaking during his latest media briefing on Thursday, urged all countries now experiencing intense transmission to increase sequencing and to share these sequences. He further explained that since the peak of the Omicron wave, the number of sequences have shared has been dropped by more than 90%, and the number of countries sharing sequences have fallen by a third. We'll take a breather here and return with more stories and business. To stay with us. Welcome back. Mary Kanuna joins us for more stories and business. Over to you, Mary.
Welcome to Business News. The Ukrainian government has expressed readiness to establish grain hubs in Nigeria and other African countries. Ukrainian Minister of Agrarian Policy and Food Mykola Solskjaer disclosed this on Tuesday in Abuja when he led a delegation to meet Geoffrey Onyama, Minister of Foreign Affairs. Solskjaer said the grains from Ukraine would arrive in Nigeria in February. Under the initiative called Grains from Ukraine, the country also donated about 25,000 tons of grain to Nigeria to boost bilateral ties. The performance of the 2022 fiscal year has been scored by many as unimpressive, with mounting inflationary pressure, low oil production, and other developmental issues placing limits to economic growth. In this next report, our correspondent Folashade Ogurinde takes a look at major events that shaped the business world in 2022.
For the business world, the Finance Bill 2022 is perhaps the biggest fiscal bill, proposing key reforms to specific taxation, customs, excise, fiscal and other relevant laws. But industry experts believe the Finance Bill was hastily passed, as the bill leaves undue burden of more taxation on investors, which would be counterproductive for the economy.
The focus should have been more on accountability and governance of the amount being contributed before any increases. Plus, if you just increase the rate last year, why increase it again at a time when the business community and the private sector generally are struggling and they are overburdened by taxes?
One of the most controversial topics of 2022 is federal government's aggressive borrowing. As at the third quarter of 2022, Nigeria's public debt reached 44.6 trillion naira. However, this number is set to rise to as high as 77 trillion naira if the National Assembly approves the request by President Muhammadu Buhari to restructure the Ways and Means advances. The Director General of the Debt Management Office, Patience Suniha, explained that the debt would be 70 trillion naira without the 5 trillion naira new borrowing and 2 trillion naira promissory notes.
If you add the new borrowing, again, the budget is for the full year, so it's not like the entire new borrowing in the budget will be raised before the end of this administration. Certainly, some part of that will be done, give or take, say, depending on market conditions, 5 trillion. So you're looking anywhere at about 72 trillion.
A significant event in the 2022 fiscal year was the signing of the 2023 appropriation bill of 21.83 trillion naira into law by President Muhammadu Buhari. While this administration has been able to maintain a budget cycle of January to December in the past 4 years, experts say the budget deficit of 12.1 trillion naira may plunge Nigeria into huge borrowing capable of creating economic setback for the country.
For the first time in recent history, we are going to spend more on debt service than capital expenditure. What does that mean? Less than 6 trillion naira is what is going on capital according to the budget, 6.55. That's more than 6 trillion naira we go on debt service, not to pay back debt. So these are issues that we need to, that has been observed in the 2023 budget just presented, just signed, I beg your pardon, by President Buhari.
With the downward trend of the global economy, the resurgent cases of COVID-19 in China, prospects for economic growth in the sub-Saharan nation continues to hang in the balance. Folashade Ogurinde, TV360 News.
We'll take a break now and return with a review of the stock market. Market activities on the floor of the Nigeria Exchange Limited recorded gains on Thursday as we see the market rise to 0.62% and cross over to the 52,000 level to close at 52,048 basis point. Meanwhile, the overall market capitalization value closed at 28.34 trillion naira. The market breadth was positive as 26 stocks gained relative to 9 decliners. Ella Lakes and Losako Assurance led the gainers with combined 20% share price appreciation. Now, data from the NGX shows volume value and deals recorded a decline as 211 million volume of shares were traded in 3,462 deals. Now, analysts have predicted the bullish run sentiments would continue before the general elections. Let's see how some global stocks are faring. It's a positive trade day for the FTSE, Dow Jones and Nikkei. The news of cooling inflation and the Zambia's consumer price reports impacted the market to announce the ball and positive trades. Well, that's the stock market report. Falashade, back to you.
Well, many thanks, Mary. And on the foreign scene, Ukraine says it is holding on to Solidar as Russia meets facing resistance in efforts to capture the eastern town. Donetsk Governor Pavlo Krylenko says it is impossible to evacuate 539 civilians who are left in Solidar, including 15 children, as fighting rages. Meanwhile, Moscow has appointed Army General Valery Gerasimov to lead its war efforts in Ukraine. Russia may raise the upper age limit for citizens to be conscripted as soon as this spring, a senior politician has suggested. And now in sports, Lionel Messi scored in Paris Saint-Germain's 2-0 home win over Angers in Ligue 1 on Wednesday on his first appearance since leading Argentina to victory in the World Cup in Qatar. The forward had been rested for PSG's first 3 matches following the long break in the season caused by the World Cup, but he returned to training in Paris a week ago and was back in the starting lineup for this game against Ligue 1's bottom side. The win, which came 3.5 weeks after he captained Argentina to their World Cup final triumph on penalties against France, saw PSG move 6 points clear at the top of the French table. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Bye for now.